I was born on its muddy banks, where the water runs slow and steady, carrying both life and loss. My earliest memories are soaked in the scent of wet earth and salt-tinged air. I am Ao, son of a fisherman who knew the river's moods better than anyone, but whose hands were too worn, whose heart was too heavy. Our village, Irwo, was small and poor, cradled by endless green and the ceaseless flow of water. We lived with the hum of insects, the cry of birds, and the chatter of the market where fish were sold before dawn. My family was large. Too many mouths to feed, too few fish to catch. My father was a man of few words, a pillar of strength weathered by years under the sun. He taught me how to cast nets, how to read the winds, how to survive when the river gave little. But he was stern, sometimes harsh. His love was measured in lessons. In expectations I was too young to understand. My mother was quieter, a soft light dimmed by worry and exhaustion. Her hands were cracked and calloused from work, but she smiled when she could, especially when she looked at me. Yet beneath that smile was a river of sorrow. Losses I didn't yet know, pain she hid beneath her skin. We were poor, but we had each other. That was what I told myself when hunger gnawed at my belly and the nights stretched long and cold. But the truth was harder to bear. I was the third son, not the firstborn, not the one destined to inherit. I was the boy who needed to make his own way in a world that didn't always make space for dreams. From childhood, I felt invisible. The village was a place of traditions, where people settled into roles as easily as the river settled its course. Boys became fishermen, girls became wives and mothers, but I was restless. Sometimes I would slip away to the riverbank at dawn, watching the mist curl over the water like ghostly fingers. I would listen to the elders' stories, tales of spirits beneath the river, of gods who ruled the waters and the skies, of curses whispered by the wind. I was scared, but I was also fascinated. Those spirits, the gods, they held power beyond mortal reach. I wanted to believe that power was real. If I could grasp even a fragment of it, maybe I could break free from the life waiting for me. But escape was a luxury few could afford. Every day was a struggle against hunger, against the river's unpredictability. I lost 2 younger brothers to sickness before I was 10. I remember my mother's tears, my father's silence. The river had taken them, and I was left to carry their memory like a stone in my chest. The weight of loss, poverty, and quiet desperation settled on me early. I grew up fast, with hands scarred from work and a heart heavy with dreams no one else dared speak aloud. That I learned that the river could give and take, but it never gave more than it owed. Years later, standing at the edge of Nia's compound, I would remember those days that shaped the hunger inside me, the hunger that would both save and destroy me. The sun was beginning its slow descent, casting long shadows across the village of Irwo. The air was thick with humidity, and the scent of cooking palm oil drifted faintly from nearby homes. I stood near the edge of the river, the water shimmering gold in the late afternoon light. My heart pounded in a way I hadn't felt in a long time. Equal parts excitement and fear that I was about to cross into territory no one in the village dared approach after dark. Nia's compound lay just beyond the twisted ivy-covered walls, a place whispered about in half-truths and superstition. The laughter of children often floated from within, but no one had ever seen those children. I'd heard stories that she was cursed, that her daughters were spirits of the river itself, that she carried secrets powerful enough to change the fate of the whole village. That I told myself it was just curiosity, that I was merely a young man drawn to a mystery too deep to ignore. But beneath that, I knew I was desperate for something more than the life I'd always known, desperate for a chance to prove I was more than a poor fisherman's son. The gate creaked softly as I pushed it open. The ivy trembled, and the fading sunlight caught on the sheer curtains that framed the windows inside. The air smelled different here, thick with the scent of fresh herbs, sandalwood, and something ancient, almost sacred. Before I could second-guess myself, the door opened. She stood there, Nia. Her skin was the deep, rich color of polished mahogany, glowing faintly in the dusk. Her eyes were like pools of liquid darkness, calm yet impossible to read. When she looked at me, it felt like she could see right through to my soul. All the hopes, the fears, the restless hunger I tried so hard to hide. "Why are you here?" Her voice was soft but firm, carrying the weight of someone who had learned to guard her heart fiercely. I swallowed the lump in my throat, suddenly self-conscious of my dirt-streaked clothes and calloused hands. "I heard the laughter," I said honestly. "It reminded me of my childhood, of better days. I thought maybe I could help, maybe fetch water, or mend something broken." For a moment, she said nothing, her gaze steady and unblinking. Then, slowly, she stepped aside and motioned me in. "You may stay for tea," she said. Inside, the world was different from the village's dusty streets. The walls were lined with baskets woven from reeds, herbs hung in neat bundles, and soft light flickered from candles scented with honey and spice. I caught glimpses of movement, shadows darting between rooms, laughter that was both real and otherworldly as we sat. I felt the walls I'd built around myself begin to crumble. Her presence was soothing yet unsettling, like standing on the edge of a vast, dark ocean. I wanted to reach out, to ask 1,000 questions, but fear held my tongue. Over the next few visits, I brought her gifts: fish from my nets, sweet fruits from the market. Each time, she accepted them with a quiet grace that made my heart ache. I learned small things about her life: how she tended a garden hidden behind the compound, how she wove baskets that villagers bought but never looked closely at. But it was the laughter of her daughters, that kept pulling me back. One evening, as the sun dipped low, I saw them. They slipped between the shadows, 2 girls with hair black as midnight and eyes that shimmered like the river at dawn. Their laughter was pure and haunting, like the song of the river itself. I froze, caught between awe and fear. Nia's voice broke through my trance. "Do not speak of what you have seen." Her warning was firm, edged with a sorrow I couldn't yet understand, but my curiosity burned brighter than ever. I was falling in love, yes, but also desperate to understand. What secret did she guard so fiercely? What power lay hidden beneath the surface of her quiet life? In that moment, I vowed to protect her, to protect those girls. But I did not yet know the price such protection would demand. The more time I spent with Nia, the more I felt tethered to her world, a world both beautiful and terrifying. Her daughters, Amara and Sephu, were unlike any children I had ever known. Their laughter was a melody that haunted my dreams, their eyes deep wells of mystery and power. I loved them before I fully understood what they were. One evening, beneath a sky heavy with stars, Nia finally shared her secret. She spoke quietly, as if revealing a sacred prayer, of how Amara and Sephu were born of the river itself, children of an ancient mermaid bloodline, cursed to live between worlds, belonging fully to neither land nor sea. She told me of the water spirit Onunu, whose hunger had destroyed her past, claimed her husband, and taken 4 of her children before she fled to Irwo. Her voice trembled as she spoke of fear, loss, and the fragile hope she clung to for the sake of her daughters. I listened, heart breaking for her pain and for the impossible burden she bore. But alongside the pain, a dangerous idea took root in my mind. If the daughters held such power, power that even Onunu feared, then perhaps that power could be wielded. Perhaps it could save me from a life of nothingness. A life like the one I had escaped but never truly left behind. I convinced myself that I was protecting them, that I was securing a future where none of us would live in fear. But deep down, I knew it was more than that. It was ambition. It was desperation. It was a hunger for control. The same hunger that had haunted me since childhood. One night, when Nia was away gathering herbs, I made my move. I approached Amara and Sephu with soft words and promises. A life free from fear, free from the ever-watchful eyes of the spirits. Blinded by my charm and their own innocence, they followed me willingly. But I had made a grave mistake. Nia returned to find her home empty. Panic tore through her like a storm. When I stood by the riverbank, ready to trade her daughters to the river spirit Enum for riches and power, she confronted me. Her voice cracked with fury and heartbreak. "You dare betray me! You dare take my daughters to the spirits!" My heart shattered under the weight of her words, but my pride and fear blinded me. "I did this for you. For us. I lied." The river, once calm, roared in response. From its depths emerged Enum, eyes glowing with cold hunger. Nia cried out to the sky god Iku for protection. The heavens answered with thunder and lightning, illuminating the nightmare unfolding. Amara and Sephu transformed, their mermaid tails shimmering beneath the storm's fury, their voices ringing out like celestial hymns. I was trapped by Iku's invisible chains, dragged toward the depths I had sought to command. "Please, forgive me," I begged, but mercy was not mine to claim.